All right, guys, we'll get going. First and foremost, I'll give credit to Iowa, especially defensively. Made some great plays on the ball, which I think you saw even last week from them, and those were debilitating to us in terms of, really what we wanted to do and tried to do in the football game. And so, I really would just say this: I somewhere along the line, I failed this team to be prepared, for the moment. And, I think our lack of execution really falls on my shoulders. And so whatever I have to do to get our team swung around, especially, the lack of efficiency on the offensive side of the football, it's really kind of been the last two football games. We've seen similar patterns. And then really in special teams, I think a huge play in that game, obviously that ball, dropping and, we lose about 30 yards on the punt. It's critical error. And, unfortunately, we saw that last week. I think we've always been a team that's been able to correct those. And I think that's probably my greatest frustration. And, again, that's where I think that responsibility does not lie on the kids. It relies on the head football coach. And so, again, I'll certainly take the blame for it. We'll have to figure this out. And it's not our seniors' issue. It's not our football team's issue. It's a Matt Campbell issue. And we'll do a great job of getting it corrected and certainly look forward to the challenges ahead of us. But with that said, questions you guys have?
Yeah, that may be aside. What are your thoughts on Brock? What's he need to do to?
I think until I watch the film, Randy, it's really hard. I think, again, man, were a couple of those balls that tipped, should they have been caught? Was there somewhere in the progression that the ball should have went other than that? I think those oral things, I'll have a better answer once I watch the videotape. Really my thought was in the fourth quarter is to get Hunter into the football game, let Brock kind of gather himself a little bit. And, it was certainly great to see Hunter do some really positive things as well. But, we believe in Brock, and Brock's a tremendous leader in our program, and he certainly doesn't want to have the end result of what happened today. And he's a guy that's worked really, really hard. And if I know Brock Purdy, he'll bounce back better than ever. So, again, it's hard to see that, though, until I can look at that videotape. Man, are some of those balls that get hit right on the hands and they're just dropped, or some of those decision making, and we'll be able to evaluate it once we watch the film. Yeah, I would assume Brock's going to be our guy. I think from the perspective of, man, do we put Hunter Deckers in to challenge Brock's position on our football team? Absolutely not. I think what we put Hunter in to do is kind of allow Brock to gather himself, and really settle the game back down and really try to go win the football game. Even at that time in the fourth quarter, we felt like we could continue to stay in the game and, had opportunities to maybe do that.
On the flip side of the punt situation, you talked about your defense had just gotten a big third and long stack. Big play got Jerry DeMond. Felt like, momentum is hard to quantify, but did you feel like you had it then and then boom, it's gone in an instant?
Yeah, I think, and it was an instant, right? I mean, you're talking two drastic plays that are killers, and, as I told our team, and I've said this, like, when we've played really great in these moments during our tenure here, we've had great calm, we've had great clarity to do our job, and most importantly, we've had great execution. And unfortunately, I would tell you, we didn't have that today. And again, when that doesn't occur, it really comes back to the head football coach and his responsibility of how you've prepared your team to be ready for those moments or for those opportunities. And again, I would put the onus on myself and making sure that we figure out how to get our kids to be able to execute in the way they need to execute for us to be successful.
I haven't seen any stats, but what are your thoughts on Grace the last couple of weeks?
Geez, again, I think until I'd love to watch the video so I can give you, man, what exactly is going on. Credit to both teams we played. There's a lot of hats in the box. There's a reality of, man, this guy's going to be a, focal point of the offense, and our lack of ability to adjust to that, I think, has probably hurt us. But, from a brief standpoint, it'll be really good to watch the videotape, really good to see, was there growth from week 1 to week 2? And if not, then why, and how do we continue to move that forward? Oh no, again, I think it's execution. I mean, you're talking about there's balls that are, I mean, there's opportunities, and the lack of execution is really what is debilitating. And I would say that's 2 weeks in a row of that aspect of it. And that's why I say, man, that's where it comes back on the head football coach. Why are we not executing better? Is it how we're practicing? Is it how we're doing things? What is putting us in a position to have lack of execution, especially from an offensive standpoint?
Meanwhile, the defense is playing
Great football.
when the game is down to.
Yeah, and again, I would just say from a defensive standpoint, as I said to our locker room, I mean, it's not creating a divide. It's just the reality. Our defense continue to put us in position to have a chance to go win the football game, even after turning the ball over multiple times. And so, again, a lot of credit there. I'd say our A players on the defensive side are certainly playing A football, and I think that's hugely positive. And, we got to continue to figure out how to do that, as you said, with our players on the offensive side.
Was there anything going into this game that cued you that maybe these guys weren't prepared in that sense, or was it kind of expressed?
Yeah, I would say, I've been really proud of how our kids have attacked everything. And so, again, that's where, our kids' preparation, how they go about their business, the time and effort that they put into studying the game of football, those are things that make me really proud to be their football coach. So when you look at a game like this and you look at a lack of execution, again, I keep saying this, but somewhere I'm failing them because whatever the plan is that I have is not putting them in position for them to be their best. So like I said, it's a Matt Campbell issue. It's certainly not our kids' issue.
What's the perspective like for you guys of another slow September start versus you've had that and turned it into a successful season?
Well, we'll see. I think I would always say we'll be a team that will continue to get better as the season goes on. I think that's the nature of who we are and the type of program we are. And I won't apologize for that either, but the reality of it is, man, adversity's here. And that's the great thing about college football. It's going to come, and what will we be defined as? We'll be defined as how do we respond to this adversity, right? And that's what I love our sport, because I think it parallels in a lot of ways to life. But man, it's going to be a great challenge, and man, we got back-to-back road games. We got to go play it, late night next week, and there's real challenges out there, and we're going to either go one or two ways. And I would guess in the next 2 weeks it'll be very defining of who we are and really what kind of team we have this year.
How much does it aid you having seniors who have gone through that adversity over their years here to bounce back and maybe lead that, put some of that off of you a little bit?
Yeah, I think that'll be, we've got the right guys in that locker room to maneuver through tough and trying times. And so I have great belief in that locker room. I've got great belief in our leadership and certainly our seniors. And but yet we're going to have to do it too, right? And it's kind of like I said going into this game, you're never guaranteed in life your hopes and dreams just because you work really hard and you're really good. But at some point you got to stand up and you got to demand it. And there's got to be a sense of urgency in terms of doing those things. So whether that's from my end, whether it's from our leadership end, I think as a collective whole, it's going to be really fun to see what happens as we respond through tough and trying times right now.
Matt, you said there was earlier this week that these in-state games mean something to you. There are probably a lot of Cyclone fans walking out of here a little more disappointed this time around than the previous 5. What would you kind of say to that, to those fans that are really looking for that win around?
Yeah, I get it. And like I said, that's not our kids' issue. Obviously, that's a Matt Campbell issue. So, that's something we got to continue to do a better job of. You hate it because that's a situation where I would say multiple times we've given them great opportunities to play really well against us. And so, globally, I think our fan base really gets it. They get what we've been able to do and where we're going as a football program, but I certainly can understand their disappointment. I think equally everybody in that locker room and our coaching staff and myself feel the same disappointment that they're feeling tonight.
A lot of times, Matt, people talk about luck being involved in things, but you touched on execution a number of times. Is that what creates luck?
Well, I mean, football, the ball just doesn't bounce your way, right? I think that's total BS. And I always have and always will. You make the ball bounce your way. And unfortunately, for whatever we're lacking right now, not good players, not quality coaches, but something's were a hair off. And, you know, I felt like, man, we were a hair off in the first half. You know, I really felt confident that we would, you know, we were in a great spot coming out in the second half. You know, we put together a decent drive, get it out to midfield. And, man, boom, the tide swings, and we just never had the ability to recover. So, you know, again, I think luck is total BS. I think you create your luck, and you either demand it or you're hoping and wishing, and this is not a sport to hope and wish. This is a sport to demand it happen.
Time for one more for Coach.
How close was Orion Vance to going today, and what does his not being on the field do for that?
You know, obviously we believe so much in Orion, and he played such a great game last week for us. But boy, I don't know if I could be prouder of Gary Vaughn. I mean, what a game I thought he had. And, you know, I again, you want those guys. You don't know when your shot's coming. I've said this a lot in the college football world. Man, you don't know when your shot's ready, but man, when you get your shot, will you take advantage of it? And I thought Gary did an incredible job. And so I think O's really kind of day-to-day at this point. You know, he was running a little bit yesterday, just not ready to play. But we'll certainly really look forward to having him back and feel like can be even a better defense now that Gary's got some great experience under his belt as well. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.